Greetings and welcome, my friends. This is Die Hard, a Selesnya deck brought to us by a friend. The deck is designed to use Air and Earthbending to gain an advantage over time. We have Ramp to give us a better chance to play out our bigger men. We are light on removals, but we have ways of dealing with enemy blockers to get them out of the way. There's a good number of cards that interact well with each other. So let's get in there. We're playing the full set of Llanowar Elves. The Smelf is a walking mana that comes down early. As a turn 1 play, the Smelf allows us to play out a 3-drop on our second turn and provides a pair of green mana when we have the now infamous Badgermole Cub in play. Airbender Ascension is a powerful enchantment from the latest Avatar set. When it enters play, we get to airbend an enemy or even one of our own men. This is a great way to eliminate a blocker on a critical turn, or we can use it to replay one of our men for a bigger effect. Getting one down early gives us a chance to get 4 counters on the Ascension, which then makes our deck that much stronger. We're using men that love to enter play, and if we can blink them once during each of our turns, the game will skew heavily in our favor. Get Lost is our sole removal. While it does give the opponent a pair of map tokens, this does give us the flexibility to snipe a Planeswalker, an enchantment, or any enemy we need gone, and at instant speed. Badgermole Cub is our ramp enabler. When it enters play, it turns a land into a 1/1 body that taps for 2 mana. The same will be true of any of our other men that tap for mana. With this kind of ramp, we'll be able to play out our pricier cards much earlier. Bramble Familiar is an excellent 2-drop that will provide us with a mana, but this elemental has an adventure that can give us a huge edge. Normally we'd have to pay 7 mana to mill away 7 of our cards, but when we airbend the Familiar, we can play out the adventure for only 2 mana. Does it sound broken to you? It is. Haliya is a little bit of life gain and card draw in a single body. We can warp her in for a single white mana, then play her out later for her full price. With her in play, whenever we gain 3 life or more, we'll get to draw a card at the end of our turn. Every advantage could be critical, and life along gain, along with some draw, is a powerful combination. Kutzil's Flanker is a 3-drop that can enter play at instant speed. When the Flanker enters, we get to choose from a set of 3 abilities, each of which could make a difference in the outcome of a game. The first ability lets us get a pumped-up Flanker if we had a group of our men get killed off. The second ability gets us a pair of life as well as a Scry 2. The Scry could set up our draws and help us get more of what we need. The third ability is perfect against opponents looking to use the grave to their advantage, and there are plenty of those with the rise of lesson decks. Appa is a surprise bison that lets us airbend any of our permanents at instant speed. We can save a bunch of our men from a board wipe, or use Appa as a way to replay cards for more enters play effects. This is another way of getting a Bramble Familiar's adventure for only 2 mana. As a bonus, whenever we play a card from exile, we'll get a 1/1 token. Avatar's Wrath is a reset button in case things have gone wrong. We can airbend all men except for 1. While we will be able to play out our men that were swept away, the opponent will be unable to play any cards from anywhere other than their hand. This gives us the opportunity to get our men back before the opponent and get in damages while they attempt to recover. Beza is a solid body that comes with a series of effects under the right conditions. The card draw and life gain can be extremely beneficial, but don't overlook the pair of tokens we can get and the treasure. Blinking Beza can give us these effects repeatedly. Gruff Triplets is one of our big men that generates a pair of clones when it enters play. Whenever one of the triplets dies, the remaining triplets will get a boost to their stats in the form of performance-enhancing candy. Blinking the card will give us additional triplets, and we can build up an army of 3/3 men that grow whenever one of them dies. The White Overlord is another big guy that generates a pair of tokens when it enters and when it swings in. This is another card we aim to airbend or blink with an Ascension. Appa is able to let us airbend the Overlord when we impending it out, and we'll get to replay it as a creature for the low price of 2 mana. Knights of Round is also here to bring the pain with its token generation. This is one card that will easily build an army by itself. If we get to see the final lore counter added on, Our men gain a temporary boost to their stats, and they'll get an invincibility counter. Our men will be immortal. For lands, we're playing 4 Starting Town, the special land that enters untapped during the first 3 turns. We can pay 1 life and use it to get any color of mana. 3 Multiversal Passage, the special shock land that lets us choose which color mana we'd like to use it for. 2 Restless Prairie, the Selesnya man land. As a side note, this is an excellent card to Earthbend as it will enable the team pump effect much easier. 2 Lush Portico, the Selesnya surveil land. 4 Hushwood Verge, the forest that becomes a dual when we have a forest or plains in play. 4 Forest. 1 Ba Sing Se, the special land with an activated ability that lets us Earthbend 2 at sorcery speed. This really should be at least a 3 of, if not a full set of 4. And 4 Plains. Playing the deck can be a little bit tricky. In most games, there will be plenty of decisions to navigate through. The key is to be able to get men that tap for mana early to help play out our more powerful men as soon as possible. Use removals on key pieces the opponent has played out, and work on making a line of plays that will maximize our board presence. An early Ascension can be a huge benefit and allow us to reuse our men for their Enter's play abilities. Building up a critical mass of men to overwhelm the opponent's defenses is key to our success, so defend our board with an Appa when you have one in hand. Playing the deck is the best way to understand the many options that open up and the variety of lines that become available. That's the deck, boys. Let's go play some games.
Do you want to play a game?
This is Loser O. Guess what he's gonna do this game? At least he's all smiles. We're kicking things off with a 3-lander. We have a pair of our top-end men as well as a mid-carder and a removal. It does feel risky, but we'll try it. Keep your pants on. Seriously, keep them on, or I'm calling your mom. They play out an underwater tunnel. I haven't seen any rooms get played out in quite some time. We draw a surveil land, and since we don't need our removal, we'll play it out. On top, we have a forest. We'll hang on to it as we have a rather heavy hand. We can use the scry from the flanker to improve our draws. They tap out to play an entity tracker. They'll get to draw a card with every room they play out or unlock. It does have flash, so it's odd they're playing it at sorcery speed. They could unlock the other room on their next turn and start setting up a board. We'll land the flanker at the end of their turn. We want the scry option. The life gain is a bonus. On top, we have a familiar and another removal. I do like both, and we'll keep them in that order. We'll snipe their tracker. The card draw will have to wait. They play out a smoky lounge. The rooms continue to drop, and pretty soon we'll have a full motel up in here. Maybe there isn't rooms and lessons. We'll snipe their lounge. As much as I'd love to see full motel up in here, let's not go there. Plus, this setback might give us the opening we need to build our board and get in for damages. This turn, we'll go with the white Overlord. We'll impending it out for the pair of flying tokens. Unless they can do something about our men, we have lethality in another 2 turns. And the rooms keep coming. They'll get to snipe one of our men, likely the flanker. We draw an Appa, and that can let us get our white Overlord down for just a pair of mana. We'll execute our plan at the end of their turn. For now, we'll send it and get in for hits. Damages, bro. Damages. They play out a Zuko. Don't forget to use those map tokens we gave you, bro. Of course, that's another room coming. When we said get a room, we were joking. It's time for Appa to get in there. We'll airbend our Overlord. Then on our turn, we can replay it for a whole 2 mana. We draw a removal, but first, let's play out our Overlord, then we can snipe their guy. Fire in the motel hole. They're gonna need a sweeper or a miracle. A room isn't gonna cut it. If they play out a memory vessel, that's not gonna save them either. Thanks, bro, but we didn't need additional firepower. All we have to do is send it. That's GG's. Extra cheesebending. This is dirty backwaters. No, wait, it's dizzy backwaters. My bad. Swamp thing. We get a 3-lander for this one, with double Ascension, a Wrath, and a Familiar. It would look like a decent start, but I don't like the single Familiar as our only play. Mull. Then we get a 3-lander with an Ascension, a Removal, Appa, and a Cub. It's not the greatest either, but I like this line a bit better. Keep. We'll send Appa on down. We have the Ascension to do some airbending already. They play out an Authority, a defensive measure, so I don't think they'll be on life gain. We'll play out the Cub. It's all we got for the moment, so we'll need some good draws to bring us more firepower. They are going very defensive with a second Authority. I was thinking about sniping the first one, but now there's no point. Our Surveil land shows us another Surveil land on top. We need weaponry, not mana. Let's bin it. We draw Haliya. It's a good-sized body for the cost. We likely won't be gaining enough life to draw cards with it anytime soon, but there is always that possibility. They clear out our men with a Day of Judgment. At least our land will return automatically. We draw a flanker. We'll just hold it for now. Their play is a caretaker's talent. We could snipe their talent to deny them extra cards. It's time for our flanker to get in there. We're going with the scry option to set up our draws. On top we have Appa and a land. It's a tough call. We do want both, but which should we take first? Appa does provide us with a way to airbend the flanker for additional scry action. Let's take the land first. We can set up our board to take advantage of Appa. Let's drop in the Familiar. If we airbend it, we can play out the adventure for only 2 mana instead of the usual 7. They pass the turn without any plays. They do have enough mana to make a sushi, so we should keep that in mind. We'll send the familiar if they make a sushi to block. That's fine. They fire off a lightning helix aimed at our familiar. This is one of those times Appa will come in handy. We can save our familiar from death and their helix will not get them any life. Their play is a voice of victory. It will stop us from playing stuff on their turns, but it won't matter much if we can outclass them with bigger men. This is not the best set of cards. I was hoping for some big men. The Cub will have to do. We'll snipe their voice of victory. They'll get a card draw thanks to the tokens, but we'll clear the way for our men. That must have been their key card. That's GG's, extra bendy cheese. This is data loss. He loses information the way some people lose their minds. We get a 3-lander with a good curve out through turn 4. Nothing wrong with this. Keep your pants on. They drop in a ley line of the void and follow it up with some free booty. Sometimes it's free, and sometimes you pay. They fire off a betrayal to snipe our Smelf, but that leaves them with only 3 cards left in hand. You can tell they have been traumatized by reanimator strategies. Bro has suffered some emotional damage. We'll go with the familiar this turn. We'll either pull another card out of their dwindling hand, or we'll have some extra mana. They do hit us with another betrayal. You have got to wonder what they'll do once we play out the white Overlord. Will they double removal or scoop? Haliya is up next. Get in there. This time they play out a slasher. The removals have run dry and they realize their free booty is not good enough to get the job done. Will impending out our white Overlord, the 2 tokens will be excellent blockers. They send the stoppable slasher, and we'll block up. We'll disable their slasher for a bit while we get in some damages. They hit us with a 3rd betrayal. That should be about it for those removals. We draw a 2nd Appa. That's double the Overlord fun for us. They hit us with a bandit's talent and we'll have to toss one of our Appa. They even level up their talent. That's the opening for our 2nd Appa. We'll play it out and airbend our Overlord. We could care less about the 2 damage from the talent. That's 2 mana for a 6/6 monster that comes in with a pair of tokens. We also get an Appa token, which could make a good chump blocker for their slasher once it becomes active again. They play out a Bloodletter. It'll be an excellent blocker for our tokens, but they're far behind on board now, and they are out of cards. We'll send everyone minus the blocker for their slasher. Their Bloodletter eats one of our tokens, but the damages are brutal. Bro is probably being traumatized by these hits. Emotional damage. All they've got is a land. It's nice, but we've got enough damages in the air. We'll fire up our man land and send the team. Good thing they showed up with a heap of removals to stop our men, otherwise this wouldn't be possible. That's GG's. Emotional damage, cheese. This is Ricky Ricarlos. No wait, it's just Carlos. My bad, Ricky. We get a 3-lander, with our only source of green being a Surveil land. We won't be able to go turn 1 Smelf, but this is fine. We draw a Verge, so we will be able to send the Smelf out as the tip of the spear. Get in there. They burn a removal on our Smelf. While that might be unfortunate, we have more men on the way. We're sending in the Cub this turn. We'll have 2 bodies for the price of 1. They play out a Star Cage, which will deal with our 2 men. Our Surveil land shows us a forest on top. We'll take it. We do have some triplets we'd like to eventually see in play. We drew a familiar, and that will be our play. They hit us with a betrayal. Yet another person traumatized by reanimated men. Haliya, you're up. Get in there. They play out a Maze Mind Tome, and are quick to activate it for a draw. Probably went light on removals. We'll play out the Ascension to get it rolling. Then we'll follow up with the Familiar. That's our 6th mana, which will let us play out the triplets. They fire off another betrayal. That's our 6th mana going down a hole. We could play out Haliya, but if we wait for another mana, we'll have enough to play Haliya and impending out the Overlord. But then if we play Haliya now and we get a 6th land, we could drop in the triplets, and that will enable the Ascension. Let's go for it. Even if they have another removal, our board will be hard to deal with once we get a 6th mana. They draw with their Tome. But there's not much else on the way. Was that the end of their removals? We draw a shock land and will gladly take the hit to be able to play out the triplets. There is pain coming, bro. Prepare thy trousers. We gain enough life to get a draw from Haliya, and we've also enabled our Ascension. They're going to need a board wipe. We draw a second Ascension, which will enable even more shenanigans. We gotta shark 'em all. Their play is an Ugin. While he might be able to snipe one of our men, we still have plenty left.
Fools have sowed discord, and they shall reap mine. Inside.
We draw another Verge. Let's play out the Overlord for his full price. They gained enough life to escape lethality, but they have no defenses, which lets us take out their Ugin.
Is disappointing.
We draw an Appa, and he'll work wonders once we untap. They snipe our Overlord, but if they're using 1-for-1 removal, they likely don't have a board wipe. It's smelling like extra cheese around. They follow up with a second Star Cage, probably thinking it will clear out all our tokens. But negative Ghost Rider, the triplets are copies of the original, so those are 5-mana men. And now we hit for Exaxes. We'll smell you later, bro. GG's, extra cheese. And that, my friends, is another satisfied customer.